in a year that was supposed to be all about how do you stop Garrett Wilson? How do you stop Chris Olave, CJ Stroud, and this Ohio State Buckeyes offense? Jaxon Smith Njigba came to town and just ran roughshod through the entire NCAA. 95 receptions, 1,606 yards, and 9 touchdowns, topped off with a game of 347 against Utah to end the season. Jaxon Smith Njigba finished as strong as you possibly could as a sophomore entering his junior year as a college football wide receiver. And this Ohio State offense, this Ohio State wide receiver core, it continues to impress how much things have changed over the years. It's like, okay, these guys are gone. Olave's gone. Wilson's gone. How much is that going to affect Jaxon Smith Njigba, a guy who now is going to be the main focal point of this Ohio State Buckeyes wide receiver corps? Teams aren't going out there trying to say, how do we stop Olave? How do we clamp down Wilson? It is, how do we clamp down Njigba on this Ohio State Buckeyes team? We're going to see a lot more double coverages this year. We're going to see a lot more opportunities for some of these younger guys to come to fruition. And I think it's really important to know that, yeah, Buckeyes are going to lose Olave. They're going to lose Wilson. It's like, okay, how much is that going to affect Njigba here? The problem with that is they still have Fleming, they still have Marvin Harrison, and they still have Igbuka. Talented as can be wide receivers. Don't really know what they're capable of yet on a college football field, but that's not really something that was their problem, though. They had 3 wide receivers that are going to be taken in the first round of the NFL ahead of them last season. And I think once they really start to play this year, they get gain a little bit of respect around the league as well. You're going to see those guys start to garner a lot of respect. And again, that's just going to reopen up the doors for Njigba. They're going to be, okay, we can't double cover this guy every time. We're going to get torched by these other players on this team. And you best believe that's more than possible here with CJ Stroud under center once again. It's pretty rare in college football where you have a tandem like CJ Stroud, Jaxon Smith Njigba, just elite across the board. Arguably top 5 quarterback, top 5 wide receiver. And they played together last year, and they go into the next season in college football and still play together. Very rarely do you see that. To see they're going to have a second year playing together, a second year worth of chemistry, and to think that's just going to make these two better together, it's going to be really scary for the rest of the league. What else is important here? How JSN played against the big teams. Oregon, 147. Penn State, 97. Again, Utah, 347. Michigan State, over 100 yards. Purdue, over 100 yards. Ranked teams last season was no matchup that was not something that JSN could handle last season. He was up for the tallest of tasks, and once again, that is stuff you look for in elite receivers and guys that are going to go somewhere in the NFL. And this guy, I tell you what, he just looks like the complete package. He beats you deep, he beats you short, he can make guys miss underneath, he can beat you on the inside, everywhere. You line him up anywhere, and the guy's gonna make a play. And to think the Buckeyes get another year of that this season, man, they get that defense figured out. They get that defense figured out. You can't stop this offense. Nonetheless, so we're thinking for Njigba this season now. We're gonna drop the receiving yard just a smidge, just a little bit. First of all, I don't know if you expect another 350-yard performance this season. So you got to factor that in there, how that affected his stats. But second of all, I think, again, we're going to see starting this season. Now, granted, they're not playing the toughest of teams. That's usually how it starts, minus Notre Dame. Notre Dame might be a really tough game for him. But for the most part, I think it's going to take a few games where teams are going to say, prove somebody else can beat us. You double cover this guy. You always got one above, one below. Make sure this is not the guy that beats you on the football field. And that's going to obviously hinder his production there a little bit. I think he starts a little bit slower. And then once these other guys get their footing and once these other guys prove like, all right, there's somebody else in this Ohio State Buckeyes team we have to worry about. And that's when we really start to see him take off. I think, again, once we get to those quarter months in the year, once we see them big games like Michigan come around again, I think we see Njigba on fire. I think we see him run through these teams. I think we see 1,542 yards out of this guy, 94 receptions. We're going to say 9 touchdowns. Love you guys' thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.